Thanks for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, lawyers for the Ugandan opposition leader who's been trapped at home surrounded by troops ever since he lost out his election bid last week file a court petition to try and bring his house arrest to an end. I speak to the Ugandan deputy ambassador to France about Bobi Wine's claims that the vote was rigged. And despite the challenges in a bid to boost tourism, Zanzibar, an island popular for marriages and honeymoons, starts a wedding festival to encourage visitors to take the plunge. But first, Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine remains under house arrest after losing out in his presidential bid last week, following elections that returned Yoweri Museveni for a sixth term in office. Wine's lawyers say that the detention is illegal and have filed a petition in the High Court challenging it.
So we want a declaration from court that the private property of Honorable Kyagulanyi is not a prison, is not a gazetted detention place, and if there are any lawful charges against him, he should be detained in a place which is duly gazetted under the laws.
Well, the US Embassy says that its ambassador to the country had been stopped from visiting Wine. Ambassador Brown says that she wanted to check that he was safe. The run-up to Museveni's election saw violent crackdowns on opposition gatherings. In November, 54 people were killed as security forces responded to a protest against the detention of Wine. He and his National Unity platform have rejected election results, saying that they have evidence of fraud. Earlier, I asked Uganda's deputy ambassador to France whether the violence directed towards the opposition in the run-up to the election gave Bobi Wine good grounds to say that he fears for his life.
Bobi Wine, like any other citizen of Uganda, does not have any reason to be afraid for his life because there is nobody really going after him. We don't have any reason as a government, as a country, to go for our own citizens if there is nothing that they have done. What Bobi Wine has done is simply to participate in the elections like every other Ugandan. There were 11 candidates, and the country and the government has no reason to go particularly after him. So we do not understand what he means by saying that his life is in danger.
He's saying that he's running out of food. His home is currently surrounded by hundreds of troops. There were enough grounds for concern for the US ambassador to feel that it was merited to go to try and visit him. Do you not see that within the overall context of unrest that led up to the vote, that there may be a reason for Bobi Wine to fear that there may be some kind of retaliatory action following his loss to Museveni?
In actual sense, Bobi Wine seems to be simply afraid of himself and his own actions. First of all, it's not true that he's running out of food. It's not true that anybody has stopped him from accessing food. We are not a government which suffocates our opponents. We don't go after our opponents. We go for a good game where the winner takes the win and the loser accepts the loss. The problem which we have in Uganda and all over Africa actually is that there is nobody who wants to accept that he has lost an election genuinely. It's always about people being cheated and not accepting that they have actually genuinely lost the election. Now, first of all, Bobi Wine, prior to going to the elections, he had already said that he was not going to accept the outcome of the elections, which means he was aware that he didn't have enough ground to win the elections. So he had already made up his mind that he was going to reject the elections. Secondly, there has been talk of Plan B. The country has been very, very calm. If you look at the whole geography of the region, it's only Uganda which is stable. We have a problem in Democratic Republic of Congo. We have South Sudan. We have problems in Central African Republic. We are all surrounded by this violence, and we could not accept to sit back and see people who claim to be fighting for their own citizens actually causing violence. So all this talk that we have about pre-election violence was premeditated and started off by the opposition led by Bobi Wine.
So, Ambassador, I just want to be clear. You're saying that the violence, for example, the 54 people who were killed during the crackdown on opposition protests in response to the arrest of Bobi Wine, that was premeditated and orchestrated by the opposition?
Exactly, because when you find citizens, Ugandans are very, very calm people. They welcome everybody. They want to go about their own business. The NRM has brought them peace. They want to make sure that they carry out their developmental activities. They are not the type of people who can just attack security forces who are doing their work. What do you expect the security to do if they are being attacked, pelted with stones, being attacked with iron bars?
Ambassador, even if there is a proportionate response to crowds attacking security forces, 54 people were killed in November. Security forces are armed, and if you're trying to compare the kinds of resources that are available to crowds protesting to security forces, there is not a proportion, it's not equivalent.
I'm not trying to justify anything here. I'm not saying that the whole country has been mourning the loss of these innocent, these 54 people. We are not saying that people didn't die. We are not saying that it was good for them to die, but we are simply saying that when people are in a contest for elections, it does not necessitate violence. You don't first preach violence, and then you turn around and start claiming that it's the other side which is creating the turmoil.
The Ugandan ambassador there to France speaking to me a little earlier on, claiming that some of the pre-election violence seen in the country was to be laid at the feet of the opposition. Well, in other news, the US says that it's placed visa restrictions on unnamed Tanzanian officials it accuses of undermining the country's elections last year. The October vote was marred by arrests and targeting of opposition leaders and internet disruptions. The US claims the exercise was neither free nor fair. John Magufuli won a second 5-year term, beating his rival Tundu Lissu, who returned to exile not long afterwards for fears of his safety. And COVID-19 has caused job losses and company shutdowns, even in countries which have escaped the worst of the pandemic. In a bid to boost tourism, despite the challenges, Zanzibar, an island popular for marriages and honeymoons, has started a wedding festival to encourage visitors to take the plunge. Shelley Sitburn has more.
Here comes the bride. Well, not really. Since the COVID-19 crisis started, international couples from Europe and America have largely been blocked in their home countries, causing some distress in areas like Zanzibar, usually a popular destination for weddings. These actors are part of a festival showcasing what dream weddings can look like on the island, an initiative meant to bring back tourists as soon as possible.
Corona, it's a worldwide problem, and we want to overcome it, and we come with a new idea. People are very sad, and there's a lot of tension. At least they have something to do.
In Tanzania, businesses remained largely open in 2020 because few were infected with COVID. But the economy took a hit anyway because tourists could not fly here. And tourism accounts for roughly 18% of GDP. To bring its international visitors back, Zanzibar has promoted its rich multicultural heritage.
So Zanzibar has been ruled by many countries like the Arabs, the Omanis. So this has mixed up our culture.
In Zanzibar, weddings are celebrated in color with traditional music, scents, and jewelry, of course, the best way to express true love, according to local craftsmen.
Looks amazing. That's it, though, for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us.